we're going to see how God protects His righteous ones, His chosen ones, by putting a mark on them in such a way that they will be saved, they will be protected, they will be cared for, they will be preserved by God. And the Lord said to him, "Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and put a mark on the foreheads of the men who sigh and cry over all the abominations that are done within it." See, the idea of God saving the remnant, it is something that we see all across the Bible, right from the starting pages. For example, Noah and his family were preserved from the world's destruction. Lot and his family, they were protected when God rained punishment upon the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. We see this throughout Scripture, God protecting His righteous ones. Here we see another phrase, the men who sigh and cry. This is the remnant among the people of Jerusalem whom God is going to protect. The angel of God puts a mark of protection upon those faithful among the people of Jerusalem so as to protect them from the coming judgment of God upon the city and upon the people. How marvelous. Putting a mark. We read there, put a mark. See, the Hebrew word for mark is tau, and it became the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, tau. We see that. But in the old Hebrew script of that time, tau looked like a cross, that X-shaped cross. God is telling His angel to put such a mark on those people's, on those faithful people's foreheads. Protection with the mark. We see this concept even throughout the Bible in many areas. Putting a mark or sealing a person with a special mark. For example, God protects Cain by setting a mark on Cain. And the blood on the lintel and on the two doorposts ensured that the Israelites were not killed. In Revelation, the saints of God are sealed so as to protect them from the punishment or from the wrath that is about to befall on the world. Let me ask you one thing. See, we read there, the men crying out or who sigh and cry. With that in mind, let me ask you, are you a person crying over the unholiness around you? When you see the unholiness, the desolations, lack of faithfulness to God, do you cry out to God? Do you have that attitude within you? Or are you compromising with regard to the holiness of God? Do you ignore all those things, saying that, yeah, it has always been like that, and nobody is faithful, nobody is holy? Are you one among them? Do you sigh and cry out to God? Do you plead before Him, asking for His intervention? Lord, how long will you wait as this unholiness, as this unfaithfulness is rampant in our present day church and society? Do you cry out to Him? Something to think about, something to pray about. To the others He said in my hearing, go after him through the city and kill. Do not let your eyes spare, nor have any pity. You see, there were 6 angels. At the start of this chapter, we saw that. One had the inkhorn. Now all are sent to kill and not show any pity at all. Utterly slay old and young men, maidens and little children and women, but do not come near anyone on whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. So they began with the elders who were before the temple. Beginning at my sanctuary. See, the sanctuary was the place where the most serious idolatry was being committed against the holy God. We saw that in our previous session. Ezekiel, as well as Jeremiah, did not consider the physical temple, the temple at Jerusalem, to be permanent, considering the people's sins. Let me ask you one thing. How are we with regard to the things of God? Even when you enter the church for prayer, now how is your attitude? playing with your phone, talking with others, spending time in a way not befitting God and His holiness? Do you consider God's presence as vibrant in the church? When you are sitting before the Lord in your family prayer, when you are sitting before God in your private times, again in the church, do you have reverence for God? Or are you there trying to find fault with others? Or in other words, majoring in the minors. Finding fault with this thing, that person, this person. Check yourself. It's good to have that introspection as we go through this. See, those people were committing the most serious sins even within the temple precincts. Even today, many people in the church are not giving the reverence due God. They would be, checking their messages, youngsters or elderlies, checking the WhatsApp messages, or youngsters playing some games, things like that, within the place where it is consecrated for the worship of God. We need to be very serious with regard to the things of God. If we have done that, as we are studying through all this, let's come back to God. Let's give God the rightful place in our life, giving God due reverence and worshiping Him, knowing that He is such a majestic God. You see, 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 17 says, judgment begins at the house of God. And also the 18th verse says, if the righteous one is scarcely saved, where will the ungodly and the sinner appear? See, dear people of God, God is a strict God, and He starts His judgment with His children of God. And if He is so strict with the children of God, see, look at the example of the Israelites. God did not spare them for the sins that they committed, for all the abominations and the unholiness that they committed. God punished them severely, down through the centuries. We have seen how the chosen people of God have been suffering. God takes holiness very seriously. Better heed to His warnings and instructions. Then He said to them, defile the temple and fill the courts with the slain. Go out. And they went out and killed in the city. So the temple was defiled with the dead bodies that were slain. These angels were sent out to kill, and with those dead bodies, the temple will be defiled. And this event, as mentioned here, is seen in 2 Chronicles chapter 36, verses 17 through 19, wherein it says, God brought the king of the Chaldeans, the Babylonians, against the people of God in Jerusalem. And He did not show any mercy to the young or old, to the young men or the elderly. He utterly killed many of them, took them captives, burned down the temple. We read about all those events. God's punishment upon His chosen people because they did not walk in the ways of the Lord. In comparison to this, wherein here we are seeing God putting a mark on the foreheads of those who are faithful, so that the punishment will not fall on them. We see another mark in the book of Revelation, wherein we read that those who receive the mark of the beast, that's the mark of the devil, those people will suffer the wrath of God. We see that in Revelation chapter 13, chapter 14. And by the way, if you are blessed by this message, be sure to hit that like button. And also, if you are not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe by pressing that subscribe button and also pressing that bell notification, so that you would continue to receive blessed messages and updates like this on this same channel.